Mementos. Teresa is spending summer after senior year in Vienna, helping her aunt Renata collect and dispose of articles left behind by her philandering husband. Teresa turned 18 in June. She is tall and broad-shouldered, strong, capable of carrying heavy things down cases of stairs by herself. She has done so week after week in the strangers' properties where Renata's late husband deposited pieces of himself. In the flats of these old women and their descendants, Teresa recovers artifacts of her uncle's affairs. He recorded the name and address of each lover on a card in a Rolodex that Teresa now works her way through, amassing everything in a storage unit in Ottakring. At summer's end, they will truck it all to the countryside to be burned in a ritual of purification.
Renata is Teresa's grandmother's sister. Her husband was an American, a soldier who lingered in Europe after the war. Teresa met him only once, when she was in 6th grade and her mother's side of the family had a reunion at her grandparents' house in a suburb of Chicago. He was a slick-eyed, confident man, the type who would have teased Teresa to smile more, had he noticed her at all. Teresa had never encountered an adult relative who regarded her with such indifference. She listened through the cracked door as he and Renata argued in hushed voices about whether to accompany the others to Dairy Queen.
Teresa rarely speaks to the women from whose closets and attics and basements she retrieves numerous mementos of what she assumes had been a passionate love affair. If the cards with their detailed notes on gifts given and received, beginning and ending dates, and of course particular sexual proclivities don't attest to the passion, the women themselves do. Why would they all hold on to junk trinkets like snow globes or statuettes of American skyscrapers for uncle's passion, perhaps more so than the love affairs?
Teresa has grown to hate the creased faces of her uncle's jilted lovers, the way their lips twist when she explains, in the phrases of German she's perfected for this purpose, who she is and why she has come. They usually have the box ready, have kept it ready for years. The objects are heavy, outlandishly so, as if this had been the point. From one woman's house, Teresa removes 300 kilograms in rusted disc weights. From another, 10 glass jars filled with stones from the Danube. Always at least one crate of moldering hardcover books.
Some women let the objects go with a phew and a gesture of relief. Some tear up and ask how he was in the end. Some resist at first. Teresa thinks they're pathetic to have held on to any of this garbage until she realizes she's doing the same thing with the only present her high school boyfriend Ivan ever gave her, a phone case with the Raiders logo on the back. She doesn't care about football, but getting anything from him that seemed like a major coup, and so she continues to carry her phone in this case. At least in Europe, men do not attempt to bond with her over sports when they see it.
In the final week of her mission, in the sparse WXYZ section of the Rolodex, Teresa discovers a male name, Bertrand Ziegler.
Teresa takes the U-Bahn to Bertrand's flat in Praterstern. By now, she has an intimate awareness of time difference. 9 hours earlier in Petaluma. It's 4 p.m. there, Sunday. There are great chasms of Teresa's knowledge of Ivan. She wants to possess him, but she does not even know what he might be doing on a Sunday afternoon. More important, she doesn't know what he thinks about. She can imagine him doing nothing except thinking of her, or pointedly not thinking of her. The phantasmic version of Ivan is lobotomized, a zombie existing only in relation to Teresa. She sits in the tunnel and rereads their last texts for the 100th time. She has seen the inside of his parents' house, roamed through it freely when they were out of town, but she cannot map him onto it.
So this is what she imagines he does. He stands in front of the mirror in his parents' bathroom, flexing his biceps. He looks at his phone to see if Kaylee has texted him. Kaylee is a girl Teresa has never seen in person. She went to the other high school on the west side of town and has recently begun liking Ivan's pictures on Instagram, particularly his series of macro photos of the snouts of dogs. Junior year, Ivan quit basketball and refashioned himself as an artist. Kaylee laps it up. Last week, Ivan posted a picture of a banana placed on the yard and encouraged a line of ants to trudge over. He had used a filter, lo-fi, Teresa guesses, to make the yellow of the banana garishly vivid against the green, the ants' stark black silhouettes. Kaylee posted a thumbs up emoji along with the comment, "V Lynch." Teresa doesn't know much about Kaylee as her account is set to private. All she can see is Kaylee's profile picture, a tiny circle inside which is a picture of a girl with hair cut into thick bangs, wearing a striped shirt and crouching on some kind of rusted washing machine or deep freezer, a boxy white appliance discarded in a meadow. It would all be easier if Kaylee didn't seem so cool.
When Bertrand opens the door, Teresa is still looking down at her phone. She finally looks up to him after reading the end of her uncle's notation on Bertrand's voyeurism. Bertrand owns a handsome face in the old man kind of way, creased, weathered, but kind and masculine. Ivan would love to photograph this nose. He wears a purple robe with silk trim, which makes her think of the way Ivan always wore his mother's robe after they showered and before they had sex.
"I've come for what my uncle left," she says in her stilted Rosetta Stone German.
"You've come for the plans," he says, hitching his woolly eyebrows.
Teresa is in no mood for whimsy. "The things he left," she says. Bertrand disappears down the hall for a few minutes. He comes back carrying a banker box with several non-sequential volumes of an encyclopedia, a large Ziploc bag of bolts and screws, and a pair of work boots with busted soles. Teresa jots the items down on the steno pad in which she records inventory. No one told her to do this, but it seems like it should be done.
"And this," Bertrand says, brandishing a plastic poster tube, "the plans."
"Thanks," Teresa says. She reaches for the tube and Bertrand pulls it back.
"Did your uncle tell you what these are?"
"I only met him once."
Bertrand edges closer to her and pops the top off the tube. She sees rolled thick pages inside. "Original blueprints for falling water," he says.
"Okay, cool," Teresa says. She wants to escape Bertrand now. She resents his insistence, keeping her hostage in his dim foyer.
"Do you know what that is?" Bertrand says. He seems offended that she isn't more impressed. Teresa thinks old people are so fucking self-important.
"I'll Google it," Teresa says. "Thanks." She grabs the box and the tube and starts down the stairs.
From the doorway, Bertrand calls, "Tell him I finally saw the real thing."
"Will do," Teresa says without pausing. On the U-Bahn platform, she reloads Ivan's Instagram, comments on his most recent pic, saw a nose you would love, and then requests to follow Kaylee.
Teresa takes Bertrand's trash straight to the storage unit. She shoves the banker box in with dozens like it. She pauses with the poster tube. She pries off the top and extracts the blueprint. She spreads it on the dusty cement of the unit and stands back with her back to the sun. It is that golden hour, and the blueprints seem to glow. She applies her standby filter, Valencia, and captions the picture, "Making plans." The photo posts to Instagram. Teresa opens Safari and is about to Google falling water when she hears footsteps crunching on the gravel outside her unit.
Two guys in their 20s wearing American skater gear stand at the entrance, drinking beer wrapped in paper bags. Teresa feels exposed in her cutoffs and halter top. Her German isn't good enough to decipher what they are mumbling, but she can feel that it is about her. She rolls the blueprint and stuffs it in the tube. She pulls down the door of the storage unit while the boys stand obnoxiously close, speaking harsh German slang words and laughing. Once the door is down, she turns to face them. "What?" she says.
"Nothing," they reply in English, the humor draining from their faces. One of the boys spits on the ground beside him, which seems to punctuate something. They walk away. Teresa reflects with an odd sense of loss that she would have thought they were cute if they hadn't fashioned themselves as potential rapists.
5 days later, Teresa and Renata trucked the contents of the storage unit out to Renata's friend's dairy 50 kilometers outside Vienna. A pair of teenage sons assembles the pyre on a defunct grazing area. Teresa and the boys then carry everything out from the truck and pile it onto the wooden pallet. Teresa forgot to look up the blueprint. It is wedged at the back of the truck, and by the time they get to it, she's tired and wants to go home. One of the farm boys douses the pile with kerosene. The other hands Renata a box of matches. "How do you say to burn in German?" Teresa asks Renata. She knows the word, but she can think of no other way to start a conversation with Renata, who is still so cold and formal.
"Verbrennen," Renata responds. She extracts a match. This is Teresa's last chance. Maybe she should tell Renata about the blueprint. Bertrand had acted so strange about it.
"Wait," Teresa says. "What if there's something valuable in there? Are you sure you want to burn it all?"
Renata glares at Teresa. She states, "For me, each thing is ruined. No longer means what it is, but means something like betrayal. Exactly why I intend to burn it all. Unless, of course, there is something you would like to, how do you say in English, Benson?"
Teresa thinks about it and then translates her best guess. "Possess," she says.
It seems too much trouble to ask Renata about the blueprint. To do so, she would have to mention Bertrand, and she doesn't know how much Renata knows about her late husband's activities. The farm boys are standing right there, watching them, waiting. Teresa reasons that her orders, after all, had been clear. Nothing salvaged. Every trace of her uncle requisitioned and destroyed.
"No, there's nothing I want," Teresa says. Renata strikes the match. Teresa watches the fire consume the mementos. The flames grow larger, tongues licking towards sky. Teresa's phone buzzes. Kaylee has accepted her request to follow. She has also commented on the photo of the blueprints. "Cool Frank Lloyd Wright, #HellaBank." Teresa stares into the fire's writhing core. She peels her phone out of Ivan's Raiders case and throws the case onto the pyre.
Yeah!